Hi Homeworthy, I'm Shelby. Welcome to my home in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm so excited to show you around. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
My name is Shelby Eanes. I'm an interior designer in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm recently an avid DIYer and I'm so excited to have you in my home. This home was built in the 70s. We lived in another home in the neighborhood and we had always aspired to live on a golf course, but the homes were a little bit out of our reach, so we found one that needed just a little bit of TLC, and we decided that we were gonna roll up our sleeves and start renovating a lot of it. So we took a lot of it down to its bones, and every room tells a story, so we love it so much, we've turned it into a space that's truly ours. So this was our second home renovation. The last home that we lived in, we kind of lived through it a little bit, and we cut some corners, and this one we decided we're gonna do it right. We're gonna go room by room and we're going to love on every single space in the house. So in the beginning, we decided we wanted to tackle it room by room. We did hire a contractor in the beginning to help us with the heavy lifting. And then when we had some mounting bills in this money pit, we decided that I was going to DIY as much as I could. So that's what I'm excited to show you today. It's a mixture of some help when things got a little big and some things that we can do on our own. Okay, welcome to the foyer of our home. In the entry, I wanted this to be your first impression of our space. So in here, I focused on some big picture things, like I wanted to have a detail on the ceiling. The floors, we kept existing to remain with some nice old stone. And then I added a lot of little details, but I think that when people enter your home, it kind of tells them a lot about yourself. So let's get into it. So this mural is a huge focal point of the room. This is traditional wallpaper. So I hung all of these panels, I pasted it to the wall. It is not peel and stick, but I really wanted something that was biophilic. It really brought the nature outside inside, and you see a really nice landscape here, and it's a nice warm piece. Didn't want anything to feel sterile, so it's a beautiful backdrop to all the other colors. Make it feel a little bit moody as you enter. So after the wallpaper, I literally woke up one morning and my husband gets scared when I have these dreams, and I decided I wanted to do trellis that's traditionally used outside on the ceiling. So this is a regular trellis board. I actually hand painted it and I regretted every second of it. I highly recommend a paint sprayer. But I took the trellis pieces, I painted them, and then I installed them on the ceiling. This is where my husband said, "Oh no, what have you done now? Because you definitely need two hands with this." But I really feel like the fifth wall is something that should never be forgotten. So I have a trellis here, I have wallpaper in some other areas, but to me, it's just an element of surprise that you don't expect to see. And although it is controversial, not everybody likes it, it's my home and I'm so proud of it. This dresser I got from an antique store down the road. It was imported from India, and I like really unique pieces. Some things are really great to buy online, but this just had so much detail from all the iron hardware. There's a little bit of glass in there, so it's a mixture of storage for me. Some of our vintage heirloom pieces from my grandmother are in there, both sets of grandparents actually, so it's really special that it tells a story below. And then the way that I styled it, I like to mix different heights. So I have the lamp over here, and then I mix in little things. This is actually just an inspiration book that kind of relates to my style of some home interiors. I don't go crazy with family photos, but I have a little one of the family here, a little mirror to help reflect what's happening in the next room, and then a nice piece of artwork and some other little pieces. Just the variance of height is really important when you're styling the top of a credenza. It's important to not get too busy with it, and I think it's kind of the perfect mix. Welcome to our library/sitting room. I wanted this room to emulate the feeling of the foyer a lot. So it's very cozy, very warm. Again, the fifth wall is a big element that I will repeat throughout this home. It's something to not be forgotten. So I did wallpaper here. I did this traditional wallpaper as well, all by myself. There was a funny moment where I had a really big panel and I had to scream for my husband because it all started falling down on top of me. But I love the adventures of DIY. It's all lots of fun. So I kept this biophilic as well. There's some florals on the ceiling, kept it all brown. And then my favorite color is green. So you'll see that repeated in our home. I most recently added these bookcases because I really wanted it to tell a story with some personal touch. This space, it started out as a dining room and it worked great 3 or 4 times a year. We do host a lot of holidays here with the family, which I love doing, but I wanted it to be used throughout the year. So I had a love seat in here and 2 chairs, and I actually most recently added 4 swivel chairs. They are functional that you can kind of swivel and turn around so you're not stuck in one direction. It becomes a really nice conversation area. I do play checkers with the kids in here. We have a lot of fun, and this is just a really nice area where everybody can congregate. I feel like the chairs are not as confining as a love seat. So it's been a really great space for us and it's functional all year round. When we look down at the floor, I do have a very unique triple layered rug in here. So the base of the floor is wood flooring throughout the home. I actually used carpet tiles as an area rug. I love carpet tiles by Floor. They're fantastic for residential use with commercial grade performance. And then I used traditional rolled rugs here. So this is just a regular budget conscious rug beneath. And then this actually is a nice old Turkish rug on top of here. So it has a lot of character, a lot of history there. It brings in a lot of color. I think without that rug, this room could have felt a little bit sad. It brings in some life into the room. So don't be afraid to double and triple layer a rug. Okay, so this light fixture, I wanted to go with something refined and elegant in here, but not too stuffy. So there's an element of playfulness with the color. It's actually coordinating with my dress today. I love the brass on the chandelier that's actually continued on the inside. So when it's illuminated, it really glows beautifully. And then I added the trim piece on the ceiling. It might be covering up an imperfection for wallpaper, but nobody has to know that, right? Until I say it. The trim piece is really just a fun added touch up there, a beautiful medallion that you could add on any fixture. Okay, so for the curtains, I mixed different patterns. So I wanted to go with something a little bit more bold and crosshatched on the outside, and then with the theme of layering, I went with something a little bit more neutral on the inside. These are blackout here, and then on the top, it's just a nice fun pattern. So the layering is something that's really important. I love also the pleated drapes right there, really nice texture. Don't forget about texture and layering room by room. It's very important. It makes a huge difference. Okay, so for the bookshelves, I did press the easy button. I decided not to build these. I wanted to purchase them. They are super budget conscious, but they look really elegant and refined. They look really high-end to me. So they are glass. What I did is I mixed a variety of photo albums. I do still print photos. I think it's very important to print photos. I also framed a lot of photos. So there's a mixture of personal touch and then some other special pieces that have a history to me, and also some artwork that I mixed in. When you're styling a bookshelf, it's really important to mix a variance of height. I know it can be really overwhelming. I say bring all of this stuff in your room and just have fun with it. You really can't go wrong. If it's something that speaks to you and you love it, there's no right or wrong answer as long as it's something that you enjoy. So in the corner of this room, I didn't want to leave it boring. I still wanted to keep it fun. I don't think you can have too many pieces of artwork or photos on a wall. In this area, I just kind of created my own gallery wall. Very budget conscious. This is sold at major retail stores, so some of you might recognize it. The theme in my house is really a mixture of cost averaging. I like to splurge on certain things, but then I don't think it's a bad idea to cut back on things and save a budget. You would never know the cost of some of these, but it really pulls the corner together nicely. And I have a space that we could set coffee or tea on, store books, and then we also have some ottomans if anybody needs to kick back. Okay, so from the sitting room, we'll go into the living room, which is the main entry. As you come off of the foyer, you enter into a large living space. My home style, it's hard to put your finger on it. I'm definitely an eclectic mix, and I like to think of myself as embracing vintage vibes. I try not to follow fleeting trends because they come and they go so quickly. So I tell people, if you love something, make it work. A cookie cutter home is not something that everybody enjoys. you have to have character in it and you have to really love your space. And I love when rooms tell a story. I think back to my memories when I was younger, and every memory actually relates back to a room. My grandmother's room, for instance, I remember every detail of her living room, and I hope that my children will remember that one day as well. Okay, welcome to the living room. So this space is the heart of our home. This is where we spend the most time. Funny story though about the fireplace behind me. When we bought this home, we were told that it was in good working condition, and come to find out, it was not. So for 5 of the 6 years we've lived in the house, it has not worked until this past winter when I decided enough was enough. And it does finally work now. It's not only beautiful, but it is functional. It was a dark stone. This was a controversial topic as well, painting stone. I did paint this by myself, but I love natural stone. For our home, it felt very dark and heavy. So the white in here was more of a natural element for us. It allowed the mantle here to pop. And then again, with the layering, I love layering things in the house. We have the mirror and the artwork, and then this vintage fireplace screen. I just couldn't find myself to purchase any from the major stores. I wanted something that had character and really told a story, brought those vintage vibes in here. So we love that this is the focal point right when you enter the room, our beautiful fireplace. Okay, so I'll talk you through how we landed on the layout of our living room. It is a little bit unique. So over here, when we moved in, we have a wet bar. And my husband really wanted to get rid of it because it threw off the balance of the space. And I said, there's no way I'm letting you get rid of the wet bar. We have to keep that, and I'll figure out how to balance everything else. So that is kind of how the shelving unit came to be, the entertainment center, the TV. You know, we watch a lot of sports and things on there, so it had to stay in the living room. And then we really made all of the seating choices around that. I also love to sit here in the corner, a nice armchair, relax there in the corner right by my wet bar that I'm so glad I kept. And then I balanced a couple ottomans on the fireplace just for extra seating when we have guests come over. I feel like you can never have enough options for your guests. So in order to balance everything, I had to get an extra large coffee table. And I wanted something that wasn't just a big wood coffee table. I wanted it to be unique. So it's actually leather with a metal frame. And I have a lot of things happening on the table. There's a mixture of a lot of design books on there. Here, we store all of our electronics, so all of the remotes are out of sight there. And then I mixed in a lot of other elements of design with some fun pieces. And the seating here, so we've actually had these sofas for a really long time. They were in such great condition that I couldn't bring myself to get rid of them. But raising young children, they seemed a little worn. So we had them reupholstered, and they're great. It's been a second life for them. I think that goes to show that when you invest in something worthwhile, it can transcend time for you, and the investment is worth it. Behind there, this is where I did bring in some photos of the family. I do have a little bit of family portraits in a gallery wall there. The biggest thing in this room, actually, when we first moved in, there were columns all behind me. So they were Corinthian columns. They were very ornate. It was not me at all. There was a wall right here behind me too, and the living room was sunken. So we knew that just to avoid trip hazards with aging parents, we had really young toddlers at the time, we couldn't have a sunken living room in here. So we raised the floor actually and made it one level space, and that changed everything in here. However, when you raise the floor, it affects the fireplace, the doors, the windows, electrical outlet heights, everything. I do think it was worth it though. We're so happy that we did that. So we have a massive rug on the floor, which is really hard to find and source. It also gets very expensive if you can even find that it exists. So what we did, similar to the sitting room, is I used carpet tiles in here. You can't even tell. This feels like a vintage Turkish rug, but it's actually individual 18 by 18 carpet tiles, and they just float on top of the hardwood floor, so it's fantastic. We have kids and animals. Spills happen on this floor, and it's held up extremely well. Lots of designs to choose from, but I really liked the deep red tones of this one. So the beauty of modular is that it really can span the space of any room. You don't have to be confined to a bound rug size. And then right above the bound rug, we have this really oversized chandelier. So this took me a long time to find. Unfortunately, in residential, a lot of light fixtures are not spaced accurately. They're very tiny for rooms. So I say the bigger the better because it makes your space feel smaller and forgotten when you have a lot of blank space around it. This one is really, really big, and I love that it takes up a lot more space. It also gives up a lot more light if you like the big light ahead of you, but we also dim it so we don't have too much big light above us. But big chandelier, big rug, we love it all. So adjacent to our living room is a really beautiful patio. Let's go and check it out. Okay, welcome to our patio. So we made this a covered screen porch. When we first moved into the home, it was always a really long deck. We knew it needed to be replaced. We gave ourselves about 5 years, but about 2 years in, we realized it was a safety hazard with really young children. The railings were a little shaky, the floorboards were rotting. So we expedited this project right in the middle of COVID when all of the lumber costs went up. So actually at the time, composite flooring was more affordable than wood flooring. So we opted for a long-term approach, which I have zero regrets with. We did composite flooring throughout, and we kept pretty much the size and length of it, but where I'm standing right now, we did build it out a little bit so we could have more space for a living area. We spend so much of our time out here. In phase 2, we added the ceiling and screens. I have a view of the golf course to the left of me right now, so it's so nice that it's very peaceful and serene out here. I honestly feel like I'm in a tree house surrounded by all of the greenery, and without the frustration of the bugs, we spend a lot of time out here. So when we tackled this in 2 phases, the first one was just build a deck. We just needed a nice, safe deck. A year later, when we added the roof, we decided go big or go home. We would regret not having a fireplace, and I'm so happy that we did it. Especially come football season, you can find my husband here watching his favorite sports team, relaxing by the fire. One unique feature of our fireplace, obviously it's a wood-burning fireplace, so we have to have the wood for it, but I didn't want messy wood everywhere. So Organized Me had to figure out how we were gonna build a niche in the side of it. So we actually have one on each side. We store all of our wood here. So it's really, it's not only functional, but it's beautiful. So it's actually, I think, a piece of artwork on the side, and then we just grab it and put it in the fireplace whenever we need it. We really wanted to maximize all the seating. Like I said, we love hosting. We do like a big 4th of July party every year. This is a great space for everybody to congregate. You've got 4 swivel chairs, and then I have a really nice sofa and some extra ottomans because we really can pack a lot of people into this space. We wanted it to feel large. I'm not a huge ceiling fan person. This is the only room in the house that you will actually find a fan. It's a bone of contention with myself and my husband, but out here it made sense. Function was paramount. So we have the fan and light combo and then some other seating areas grouped. Over here we also have a little dining area. So if we want to have dinner out here or when we have guests over and it's getting a little tight indoors, you can escape out here, listen to the birds chirp, watch some TV, lots of options. So a lot of outdoor patio sets, they really feel like you're outdoors. Clearly we're outdoors, but I really wanted it to have cozy vibes too. So this big egg chair is such a nice space where you could just kick back, relax. My kids love to sit there. And then I incorporated a lot of other textures. So while these are actually traditional outdoor pillows, they don't look like it. They don't have that kind of cheap vinyl feel to it. They're very textured. I'd say focus on texture everywhere. I mixed pattern and texture in the floor, texture in the ottomans, and then I kind of kept a color theme of my favorite color, green, but I mixed in different hues of it. It doesn't scream green, but it's different values of green. And I think that's really how I made it feel a little bit more like home here. This is an extension of the living room instead of just the outdoors. Okay, so stepping outside of the covered patio, we have our view of the golf course. This was the selling feature of the home. While we're not avid golfers, the way we looked at it is that we always know this neighbor is going to take care of their property. So it's a beautiful space. I'll tell you, those golfers, they golf every day of the year. It's fascinating. But it's a really beautiful backdrop, and this is a really nice area where, you know, we have no screens, we're just really out in nature. I loved this umbrella because it kind of just has like the scalloped edges, all the details over here, but it's a really nice space if we want to step outside and get outside of the screens. Okay, so I'll let you in on a little behind the scenes. I am working on one day building our dream pool behind me. Unfortunately, in some of the flat areas of the yard, we have a lot of plumbing that converges there. But right here, I am picturing an outdoor oasis with a pool. Help me talk my husband into it. I need to make it happen. This would just be the perfect area where you're entertaining and everybody can really kick back and relax behind you. I'm gonna make a pool happen. My background is in interior design. I was raised in the trading spaces era, and I fell in love with, a peek behind the curtains. Everybody wonders, what does their home look like? What are they doing? And I loved the concept of the neighbors helping each other's homes. And I just loved watching their creativity shine in different houses. So I knew that I really wanted to do something like that, and interior design became a passion of mine. I started in my own home. My mom let me go rogue and paint my entire room a very bright yellow that they actually still have to this day. I need to help them repaint that. And so I decided that I was gonna study interior design, and I got my bachelor's of science degree. I practiced for 7 years in Atlanta at a major firm, and I did a combination of architecture and design for tenant improvement. And as I started to raise a family, I realized my passion and I wanted to challenge myself outside of that realm. So I started kind of looking into residential and then focusing on my own home. But interior design was kind of always a passion of mine later in my teens. All right, welcome to my kitchen, where I actually do not know my way around here at all, but I can design a pretty one. So my husband is the cook. I benefit from all of his talents, but when we first moved into this space, it was really dark. They had very heavy wood in here, dark wood, and they had cabinets right here. We actually kind of followed the same layout of the cabinetry. Not to make things too complicated, we kept the peninsula how it was, but of course I lightened things up. So I created a custom hood over here. So we added that right above the stove, and then we lightened up the cabinets. And instead of cabinets over on this wall, I ended up doing open shelves. I know that some people can be really nervous about open shelves. Believe me, I have clutter behind closed doors with all of the kids' cups, but this is where we keep kind of the daily grab and go essentials. I used mason jars for our cups, and then I just have some nice white plates and bowls, and then some other decorative pieces that we also use when we're hosting. And I kept it nice over here with a little pot rack. Just wanted to add an element of fun with some different pots that we use and incorporate a little bit of the brass. So the lighting in here, I actually just swapped out. We had some pendants that were clear for a long time. They served a purpose for us for several years. But with my vintage theme, I really liked these because they were super unique. I like all the detailing on it, and I loved that you couldn't actually see the light bulb in it. So that was important to me. I felt like when it was a clear fixture, it started to kind of blind some of our guests. So this is a much better solution. I feel like it really fits with the space. It's different and unique. The way that I think of lighting is that it's actually an art piece. So I would suggest not forgetting about lighting. It's a very important element. Okay, so you'll notice that I have replicated some fun art in here. I have a little pop of oranges on the artwork in this area. And then over here, I did actually put some artwork on our stone. So this is a marble backsplash. It is in the brick layout and it is beveled. So it has like a nice texture and depth to it. So right here, I actually just used some peel and stick command strips, and they are holding exceptionally well. So I wanted to pop some artwork on here instead of just keeping it plain. And then I did the same idea right behind the stove here. We do get a few things splashed up there, but it wipes off quite easily. Again, instead of just keeping it kind of bland and boring behind us, I wanted to add a little bit of color and character. Okay, so we loved in our older home that we had a really nice big island. In here, unfortunately, due to the confined space, we had to go with a peninsula layout, which ends up working fine. I have these rattan bar stools that are right next to it. It's actually countertop height stools. Be careful when you're looking at countertop versus bar height. They are very different. But I love these. They're super comfortable, very durable with younger kids and a lot of guests that we have over. Behind here, kind of under the peninsula area, we added beadboard instead of just a plain drywall. It wipes down really easily, more texture again. So I think this really brings the whole space together. Although I don't cook, I sit right here and I support my husband, and then I eat all of his delicious meals. Okay, so adjacent to kind of the kitchen and bar area over there, this is our kind of everything table. So I like that it's round because round can accommodate more people. We've pulled up many more chairs to this table. We have a lot of holidays here. So the round has been very conducive for what we need. And then I kind of kept with the fun rattan wood idea here for the fixture. This is actually something that I thrifted. And again, the element of fun and surprise with a light fixture is just important in every space. So we love sitting here and having all of our meals together. All right, and from the kitchen, we'll head on to our powder room. This actually might be my favorite room. We've been in this house for 6 years, and since it needed a lot of love, our friends kept asking us, what's the latest project? What does it look like? We want to see the before and afters. I would text everybody individually and start to share our story, and then I decided I was going to start a private page so I could just invite some of our close friends and relatives to check it out and stay in touch real time. That started to turn into a public page, and from there, I did a green bathroom renovation and I color drenched the whole thing, and that's when my DIY and design really took off. I think that's what boosted my confidence to show me that I really can do something when I set my mind to it and just jump in and do it scared. The do it scared mindset started when we had a major plumbing catastrophe in the basement. We started replacing all of the cast iron pipes in this 70s home, but the ones that we forgot to replace were beneath the slab. So one day we went down in the basement and there was water everywhere and we couldn't understand where it was coming from. We had recently had termites, and so I quickly realized that they were thriving under the soil of our home and we had a major problem on our hands. So as we were tens of thousands of dollars into the renovation of that, I realized that in order to make the basement look like what I wanted it to once it was put back together, I really had to roll up my sleeves and truly do it scared. I had never owned a power tool before. I had never built cabinetry. I had never done half the things that I do now. And it really just allowed me to express my creativity, take my time with it. It did take about a year. Rome wasn't built in a day, and I think that's been the hardest thing about owning an older home is that it really truly does take time. I think as a creative, I have the vision from the beginning and I'm eager to jump right into it. But when the budget doesn't permit, you kind of have to just go slowly. So doing it scared has allowed me to save money, do it on my own, and really be proud of it when I walk back into the room. All right, welcome to our powder room. I go back and forth between the sitting room and the powder room being my most favorite spaces in the home. This actually is a very special room to me because it really sparked my desire for creativity. I decided on a whim I wanted to color drench my favorite color green, but I wanted to do it in a very unique way. This was the very first ever DIY project I ever tackled on my own. It reached over 40 million people, so it went crazy viral, and it really encouraged me to keep going. It's another reason why I just think doing it scared can really pay off if you take big risks. So behind me here, this actually looks like a tile wall, but it is peel and stick. I know that peel and stick can have a negative connotation, but I love the Smart Tiles brand because it's textured. This is just a powder room, so we don't have any moisture or mildew concerns, but it works great with that if you have it. Behind me here, this looks like a wallpaper. It's actually a stencil. Don't let anybody lie to you if they say a stencil is easy. This was quite hard, but it did pay off. My plan was to do all 4 walls, but after I finished this, I decided that it was a really great focal point, so I stopped there. In order to separate the two, I just added a piece of wood trim here, and I painted it the same color. I matched as close as possible the green paint to the peel and stick, and then I continued it on the ceiling for a really color-drenched aesthetic. And I think this is such a fun room because it's really unexpected. So when we have guests come over, they're really surprised when they come to use the restroom, but I love that. I love walking into a space that I didn't expect to feel a certain way in it, and that's probably why it's my favorite room. So the flooring decision actually came after more cast iron woes in the house. In the laundry room across the hall, we had our cast iron pipes back up on us, and it flooded this area of the home. So when we decided to rip out the builder grade ceramic tile, I knew I wanted to go back with something that felt really historic and was going to be super durable long term. So brick was our solution. It's actually a brick paver though, so it's really thin. And we ran this one in a herringbone on an angle. So it's super fun. It brings that element of texture and surprise into the space and a lot of warmth. So behind me here, I'd say the peel and stick is controversial, but also the bench. Every time I share this space, people say, why is there a couch in your powder room? I don't think this is a couch. This is actually a bench, but the decision came for a variety of reasons. It's a very large powder room. I don't know why it is so large. I would love to have more pantry space next to me, but since those weren't the cards I was dealt, I decided that I was going to add a piece of furniture in here, but I wanted it to be functional because the phase of life that we're in, we have a lot of friends and family that come over that have little ones. And if you're a parent, you know that when you're in the restroom with your kids, you have to be able to help them. Your hands are full, you have to put things down. So this bench is a multi-purpose solution and I love it. Okay, so this vanity is actually something that we inherited with the home. My husband hated it, he wanted to get rid of it, but I could not let this go. It has so much character. It feels like a vintage find that I found while I was thrifting, but it actually was already a gift to me with the home. It did have kind of a cheap countertop with it. So what I did is that I measured out the marble myself and I went to a quarry yard and I picked out a remnant piece. It's very important to look for remnant pieces because they can save you a lot of money. So we just created a unique scalloped edge here and it feels like it was always meant to be here with the vanity. So moving from the vanity, I have a really nice brass fixture. It kind of has those older vintage knobs. I really wanted this piece to feel like it was here all along, even though it was put together differently. Behind me, I have a ladder over here. A lot of people wonder why I used a ladder, but again, it's multi-purpose. So this is where we hang all of our washcloths, and I love the ladder. I think it's beautiful. It brings height to this space. And then the light fixtures over here are kind of a replication of what we did in the sitting room, but it's just a different color and it hides the bulb filament, but it also brings in a little bit of the brass. Okay, so that wraps up the powder room. Let's head down to the basement now. All right, welcome to the basement. This is probably our biggest and most recent project. This was very white. There was actually faux painting on the soffit here and a glass block wall behind me. The previous homeowners used this as kind of a partial bedroom, kind of a mother-in-law space. There was a little bit of an odd kitchen here that was super dated with a stove and everything, and then a really obnoxious column in a bad spot in the basement. So we decided to reimagine all of it, and I decided that I wanted it to feel a lot different than the rest of the space. This is our speakeasy basement. So when you come down here, it's very unexpected. It's very dark. It's very moody. Think hotel bar vibes is what I was going for. So we started with the flooring. We had some of the flooring that was here originally, and luckily it is a vinyl that we could just extend after the slab was put back together. And then above me, again, the fifth wall, is that I did a really big mural on the ceiling. I did have help installing this one because these are 12 foot high. This is really open to interpretation. It could be squiggles on the ceiling. To me, I feel like it's another biophilic approach where you have the vines of outdoors inside. Whatever you think it might be, it's a conversation piece, which is what I was after. And then the lighting here behind me, I wanted something again that was unexpected and unique. We have the brass touches in here, and these are actually adjustable and the whole fixture is dimmable. So it's the same length as the table. One day we might have a pool table here or something of that sort. I wanted it to be longer so it could be functional with the space. And the vibe that I wanted was not only for it to be speakeasy, but also to appeal to all ages. I have a preteen and a younger child, and as they bring their friends over and we have adults here, not only do I want a bar over there, but I really wanted this more to be a game room for everybody. So I actually found this table from a church. They were getting rid of the table, and it's such a great space that we can all have a lot of fun, play a little friendly competitive game, and it allows the kids to have a good time as well. Behind this shuffleboard table, which is a big hit in our house, I have this custom piece of artwork. Most of the artwork in our house is very budget conscious, but there are two pieces in this basement by the same artist, Nathan Yoakum, and he is phenomenal. So he put together this unique piece for us. This was actually a surprise to my very patient husband. This renovation was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of long hours in here, and he really let me allow my imagination to run wild. So a thank you to him was that I had Nathan put together a custom piece of art for us. So it kind of talks about a little bit of the butterfly effect in a hummingbird vibe. So ever since we first met, he has always called me his hummingbird. So I have the hummingbird replicated on the page with a strong hummingbird in the front, outlined in pink. And it also not only is an emotional story for us, it's very special to us, but it kind of shows that you should really stand out and not let yourself blend in. So the artwork takes on a lot of different meanings, but I wanted something really unique and bold with the pink outline. Okay, so as we head over to the bar area, I want to talk about the drapery first. So these are really dark chocolate brown velvet blackout curtains. So I really wanted this space to again feel moody, even during the daytime or the nighttime. So when all the lights are off, it is completely pitch black in here. So it also is like a multi-purpose movie room. My kids have had a sleepover in here. I did a really big birthday party for my daughter, a Taylor Swift themed sleepover with tents. And it was really fun because we closed all the curtains. The girls had a great time. And it's just the really nice heavy texture and the softness of the velvet that's just perfect. Now we'll head over to the bar area. This is probably my husband's favorite part. He did have a say-so in this in the basement. I did not DIY this. I did have Eberhard Woods help me with this. They did a fantastic job with surface providers, did the countertops. I thought I wanted to do like a really unique marble, but as that got a little bit out of my budget, we found a really unique granite. It's really beautiful. It has a lot of nice movement in it. And then the millwork was custom, so we were able to select everything. I did a white oak. Again, I replicated the brass details. These are actually poles for appliances. And so I took the appliance poles and I just wanted something really long and tall on the custom cabinets. But he did not skip a beat with the details. We have a lovely cornice detail at the top. We have all these really pretty knobs. There's so much detail in all of the drawers. It just came together so beautifully. And since we couldn't get our island upstairs, I said, I want to go big 10-foot island in the basement. So that's exactly what we did. We're pretty limited on storage in this older home, so we maximized all the cabinet space beneath it and behind me. And then we have, of course, all of the liquor options here with drinks. There is a lock for my children, so they can't get away with anything. And a super big bar sink. I feel like a lot of bar sinks are so tiny, and we probably went a little big. You could take a bath in here with a little baby, but I love that it's super large. You can wash dishes in here, do a lot of different things. One unique thing that we did with the countertop is that I ran it up the wall, and then I actually have a little ledge here. So sometimes if you're preparing things, you can put the salt and pepper up here or a little mixer. And a really fun DIY, this was my first tiling. I used Zalige tile from Ryad. And this is a really cool tile. It was easy to cut, it's groutless, and I love how it looks. It has a lot of dimension and depth to it. No two tiles are the same, and I think that's the beauty of it. Okay, so I'm a big Shades of Light fan, and this is a really beautiful piece from the Chris Loves Julia line. It is gorgeous. It's slim line. I didn't want it to impede your line of sight. They have a lot of different color options. I kept it a little bit darker, and I love that you can see the decorative bulb here. Above me, I actually swapped out the ceiling. So unfortunately, we couldn't drywall here. We have a lot of plumbing above it. So to save the budget, I decided to compromise. I have standard acoustical ceiling to the right of me, but above me here, I went with architectural panels. They do not have any acoustical details, so it was important to mix both of them. But this is such a really beautiful element with all the texture, the definition of the ceiling. It's another element of surprise that's just something really unique. There's a lot of different styles out there, but I decided to keep it with the square, and I love how it turned out. Coming over from the bar area, we have a nice lounge seating area. So I went with a really oversized sectional from Homebody. The beauty of this is that not only is it comfortable, but it completely reclines and it has chargers within the sofa. So it is absolutely perfect. It's so durable too. I wanted this to be a space where the kids could use and abuse it. If you spill something, it's gonna come right out. You could take it off and actually wash it. So this is a really great seating area. Okay, so in the corner of this seating area, we have a really big entertainment center. This was my first stab at building something really large that had to do with cabinetry and millwork. I used prefab cabinets, but prefab, there's still a lot of work to be done. You have to adhere them together, paint them, add hardware, lots of steps. I added a countertop to it, and then I think the most important element is that I added a soffit, so it really brings everything together. I used some prefab big pieces on each end to flank it, and then adding the top piece was really important. I feel like it just really stabilizes this area, draws your eyes to the center where we all congregate to watch maybe a sports game or something big on TV. Probably my most favorite part of the basement though is this hidden reading or napping nook in the corner. This is a really great space. It was a closet and I actually completely transformed it. I added prefab cabinets on the bottom, a custom cushion on top so we could all just kind of lay there and chill out. And then I built some shelves in the corner and added lots of pillows to make it super comfortable. So this space, it really achieves a lot of different functions, but it's just really an extra extension of our home, and it's a really fun place to be with all the moody speakeasy vibes. Okay, so the last part of the basement is gonna be the bathroom behind me. This is another piece of artwork from Nathan Yoakum. It's beautiful. It was a really special gift. And in here is a bathroom. This was actually ground zero for where all the plumbing and termite catastrophe started. It was set up completely different. So we actually had a toilet right as you walked in, the shower next to it, and a vanity that was way too long. So we reconfigured it, and now right when you walk in, you have the sink in front of you. I added some really fun artwork, the Mona Lisa with eye patches on and a glass of wine in her hand. And then behind me is the toilet. I can't stand when that's the focal point of a bathroom. And then we added an extra large shower behind us. So I really wanted this to be like a fun space. Some of the artwork on the wall says, "Take a seat, sweet cheeks." So it's just a really fun space. Home to me is just a special space that you can call your own. It's where you can block out all the noise of the world. It's where you build memories. I think that a home is really the backdrop to all of your memories, and it really tells your legacy a bit. I have 2 children, and I do hope that they love each and every ounce of energy that I pour into every space. It really just tells our story, and even in their bedrooms, it tells their own story. So home is a space that's more than a house. It's a place that you create memories and you can have your own respite.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.